people never reach their dream, not because they fail, but because they give up too soon. You see, it isn't failure that stops us. It's the fact that most people quit the very first time they face failure. The ones who actually succeed don't stop after one failure. They don't stop after 10 failures. They don't stop after 100 or even 1,000. They say to themselves, "This is my dream, this is my goal, and I will do whatever it takes to achieve it." Learn from every mistake. I'll learn quicker. I'll work harder. I'll think smarter. And I won't quit until my dream becomes real. That's the true difference between success and failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success itself. You must get used to failure. You must even search for it, because failure holds all the lessons. Think about when you go to the gym. When you work out, you're actually chasing failure. You push your muscles to the point where they can't go anymore. And that moment of failure is exactly where growth happens. That's where your body adapts. That's where you become stronger. Successful people fail again and again. In fact, they fail much more than they succeed. They pull out the lessons from every failure. They take that wisdom and energy, and they use it to push forward to the next step of success. You've got to take your shots in life. You need to live on the edge of your abilities, right where failure is almost certain. That's the whole purpose of practice. Practice is just controlled failure. You keep going until you reach your limit, then a little past it, and that's how your body and mind adjust. Suddenly, something you couldn't do before, you now can. Failure shows you exactly where you need to grow, so fail early, fail often, and always fail forward. Failure makes winners tougher. It makes winners hungrier, but for most people, it makes them quit. It makes many feel weak, worthless, or hopeless. Winners don't enjoy failing. They would never let it stop them. The next time you run into failure, remind yourself of this truth. Every great invention, every great achievement in this world exists because the Creator learned from failure. They discovered what didn't work, and that knowledge became the key to what finally worked. We were kids. We didn't quit at failure. Think about when you first learned to ride a bike. You fell down over and over again. You always got back up until you figured it out. You didn't say, "This isn't for me." You kept trying until you could ride. But when people grow older, many become soft. They stop trying after falling once. They start making excuses like, "Maybe it just isn't meant for me." No, that's just weakness talking. That's laziness. Tell yourself the truth. Get back on the bike. Learn why you failed, fix it, and make sure you don't fall the same way again. Failure should make you stronger because of the lesson it gives. It always frustrates me when people treat failure as something negative. Failure is not something to hate. It's something to use. Fail early, fail often, and fail forward. Right now, you're alive in this moment because deep down you want to become someone greater tomorrow than the person you are today. You see yourself succeeding. You imagine your dream, and that already puts you far ahead of most people. You're already 10 steps ahead of 95% of the world simply because you have a vision. Think about this. Michael Jordan had been too afraid to miss a shot. He would have never taken one. If Steve Jobs had been scared that people wouldn't like his product, there would be no iPhone. So ask yourself right now, do you want to be the kind of person who fears failure, or the kind of person who loves success? Because you can't be both. You have to choose. And let me tell you clearly, one mindset leads to failure, the other leads to success. If you decide to love success, nothing in this world can stop you. Those negative voices around you will mean nothing if your love for success is stronger than your fear of failure. People will say things like, 1% make it to the top. Big deal. Do you know what else? Only 1% of people stick to their workout program long enough to see real results. Only 1% of gamers keep playing long enough to become truly skilled. Only 1% of relationships last through all the struggles. That doesn't mean you only have a 1% chance. It simply means you can't live like the other 99%. You have to do something different. You can't quit after a month and expect greatness. Look around you. Really look at the people near you. Ask yourself, do I live like the 99%? Do I think like them, act like them, give up like them? If so, then you're in the wrong crowd, my friend. You must decide to love success just as much as you fear failure, or even more. That love will be the thing that drives you out of bed and gets you to keep going when it's hard. Being scared of failing won't help you. In fact, you love success and go after it with everything you have, failure will show up. You will fail. You'll fail 10 times, 100 times, maybe even 1,000 times. Here's the truth. Failure isn't permanent. Falling isn't permanent. Every time you fall, you can rise again, and each time you get up, you'll be smarter, stronger, determined. For every 10 times you fail, you'll find one success, and that one success is worth all the effort. You must love success so much that you are willing to go through failure again and again just to reach it. A real winner is someone who is ready to fail 10 times just to win once. That's the difference between average people and champions. I want to explain one of the biggest myths that most people believe about success, and this myth ruins so many dreams. The myth is this: if you are afraid of failing, then you won't fail. That is a complete lie. It's the biggest lie ever, and I used to believe it myself. For a long time, I thought that if I was terrified of failing, that fear would protect me. I thought it would push me to stay careful, to stay focused, and that it would somehow keep me from making mistakes. I would look around at people who were failing in life, and I would say to myself, wow, I never want to end up like them. And I really believed that avoiding their path by being fearful was the right way to succeed. But one day, something changed my whole perspective. Walking down the street, and I saw an old man. He wore a hat, suspenders, and used a cane. He must have been around 80 years old. He could still walk, but he was struggling, leaning heavily on his cane. As he was crossing the street, he stumbled and fell down. I rushed over to help him, and when I helped him up, he thanked me. We introduced ourselves, had a short conversation. His name was Robert. As he was about to walk away, I said to him, Robert, maybe you should stay inside where it's safer. I thought I was giving him good advice. But Robert turned around, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, I love walking, and I love it far more than I fear falling. His words stopped me in my tracks. So I asked him, but what about your safety? You want to live longer. And Robert replied with something I will never forget. He said, living means doing the things you love. If I have to fall sometimes just to keep doing what I love, then so be it. After that, he just walked away, and I never saw him again. But that short moment, that short conversation stayed in my mind forever. That was the day I truly understood what success is about. I realized the real key: fear of failure that leads to success. No, it's the love of success itself. If Robert had been afraid of falling, he would have never stepped outside. He would have never walked, never done the thing he loved most. But because his love for walking was stronger than his fear of falling, he kept moving, willing to fall 10 times just to enjoy one walk. That love gave him life, and it's what allowed him to keep going even at his age. And that's exactly how you must be. You need to love your dreams so much that the thought of failure doesn't scare you away. Next time someone tells you, you're going to fail, you should tell them, you're right, I will fail. I will fail 10 times, maybe more. But I am not afraid of failing. I'm not afraid of jumping. I'm not afraid of taking action. Yes, you might fail 10 times, but on the 11th, you will succeed. And when you finally succeed, it will feel incredible. Meanwhile, the ones who laughed at you, who tried to scare you, will still be sitting on the sidelines. They'll be the real failures, stuck in a safe life, too scared to try, too scared to risk. It's ironic, isn't it? They laughed at you for failing, but in the end, their fear made them fail worse than you ever did. A lot of people often come to me and ask, motivates you the most? What is it that drives you? And I always answer their question with another question. I ask them, if I told you that you only had 1 week left to live, think about that seriously. Would you regret not chasing your dream? Would you regret not following your passion? You feel sad that you didn't live life to the fullest. Would you regret not spending more time with your family, your friends, or the people you truly love? Steve Jobs once said in a speech that every morning he would look in the mirror and ask himself a question. He asked, "If today were the last day of my life, I want to do what I am about to do today." And he said that if the answer was nah, too many days in a row, then he knew he had to change something in his life. That same principle should apply to all of us. If you are living a life that you wouldn't be satisfied with losing tomorrow, then that is a clear sign that something needs to change. Life is too short, and life is far too unpredictable to live in a way that doesn't make you happy. At any random moment, your entire life can be taken away. 13 years old, I had a teacher who was one of the kindest people I ever knew. He had a wife, 2 kids, and he cared about everyone. He gave to the community, he gave to his students, he lived with love and purpose. I'll always remember him biking to school every day. Then one morning, while riding his bike to school, like he always did, he was crossing an intersection. Out of nowhere, a reckless driver sped through, hit him, and he died instantly on the spot. His death taught me something I will never forget. It showed me that no matter how much someone doesn't deserve it, no matter how good of a person they are, death can still come at any moment. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, strong or weak, good or bad, it will eventually reach all of us. Whether it's 50 years from now, 10 years from now, next year, even tomorrow, one day it will come. And that thought should motivate you, because death doesn't care whether you flossed your teeth this morning, whether you raised a family, whether you became successful or not. It doesn't care. It will come when it comes. And if that's the truth, then why not live doing exactly what you love? Why not take the risk, not chase your dream? At the end of the day, what do you really have to lose? If you chase your dream and you fail, maybe you'll lose some money, maybe you'll feel stress, maybe you'll go through hard times. But even if you fail, you'll end up right back where you are now. You'll simply return to the starting line. So really, what is there to lose? Some of you right now are thinking about starting a business. Some of you are dreaming of becoming a doctor, an engineer, a firefighter, a professional athlete. You think about these things, but then you stop yourself because of fear. You're scared of failing. You're scared of what your parents will think. You're scared of what your siblings, your cousins, or your friends might say. But in the end, the only opinion that truly matters is yours. You've been given a gift, a talent, something special inside you. And the only way that gift can reach the world is if you take a leap of faith. At some point, you must take the risk, else society will happily keep you as another 9 to 5 worker, living paycheck to paycheck, counting the days until the weekend, and calling that life. Is that really living? Or is it just surviving? If you don't take the jump, if you don't pursue your dream, you will carry regret for the rest of your life. And worst of all, your gift, your talent, and your dream will die with you. From my own experience, I can tell you this regret hurts more than failure ever could. I'm angry at myself sometimes. I regret not the things I tried, but the things I never even attempted. I regret the opportunities I let pass me by, the chances I didn't take because I was too scared or too worried about what others might think. That kind of regret eats at you. I remember sitting down for weeks, just thinking. One day, not 2, but months of thinking. I wrote down my thoughts and compared everything. I thought about death and how random it is. I thought about the chance of failing while chasing my dream. I thought about the chance of living a boring, unhappy life because I never even tried. I compared it all. And after all that thinking, I made a choice. I decided that I would rather live every day as if it was my last, and take every single risk I could while I still have time on this earth. I would rather give everything I've got, even if it means falling short, than to be lying on my deathbed one day, full of regret, asking myself, what if I had tried when I was younger? If I had jumped when I had the chance? Because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. I would rather die trying to live my dream than live a long life filled with regret. It is too short and too uncertain to live it safe. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's not worth it to play it safe. It's not worth it to live average, ordinary, and stuck. Why do so many people choose to live the safe life? Why do they choose comfort over chasing greatness? One reason is because risk brings stress. Taking risks means you lose sleep. You lose free time. You work harder than ever. Taking risks means sometimes you put your family through tough times. Sometimes you carry heavy pressure. It feels easier to stay in the comfort zone. But let me tell you something. Your comfort zone is not safe. It's a trap. I call it the danger zone. Comfort convinces you to stay put while your whole life passes you by. Comfort whispers in your ear, "You're fine here, don't move." But one day, you'll wake up and realize years have gone by, and you never chased the life you wanted. The truth is, the very fact that you are alive right now is already proof that you've beaten the odds. The chance of you being born was 1 in 400 trillion. Think about that. Number is so huge that it's nearly impossible to understand. And yet here you are, alive, breathing, with a gift inside you. That alone should tell you that you weren't born to play it safe. You were born to live, to create, to chase your vision. That's why I say I'm angry at myself. I'm also fired up for greatness. Like Ray Lewis once said, if you're not pissed off for greatness, then you're okay with being mediocre. And I am not okay with being mediocre. I don't think anyone should be okay with it. We only get one life, and we can't waste it being average. The reason I'm even saying all of this right now is because recently I got an offer that opened my eyes. Invited to move out to Los Angeles, California, to live with 2 other entrepreneurs as a content creator and media influencer. When I heard about it, it made me stop and really think. It showed me just a small glimpse of what could be waiting for me in the future if I truly go after my dreams with everything I have. It made me realize what's possible. A house right by the beach in California, surrounded by sunshine and energy, working on something I would absolutely love every single day, alongside people who share the same dream and vision as me. Just imagining that made me want it even more. It made me think, yes, I would gladly risk everything, gladly die chasing this dream, rather than never chase it at all, and spend my life wondering what could have been. But here's the problem. I don't know if I could get the right paperwork to legally move to the US. For a job like that, it's not something that the government easily approves, especially with jobs like YouTube or being a content creator. Last thing I want is to live there illegally. So for now, I might have to let this opportunity pass. And that hurts because it feels like my dream keeps slipping through my fingers over and over again. Still, even if I can't take this one opportunity, it has given me hope. It showed me a vision of what I am capable of, what kind of future could be mine if I keep pushing. It reminded me that I would rather take risks. I would rather fail. I would rather stumble forward than live a safety life, trapped inside my own head, always thinking about what could have been. Making videos like this, speaking my thoughts, therapy for me. It clears my mind. And maybe, just maybe, it can inspire someone else who hears it. I hope my words reach people who feel the same hunger, the same drive, the same pain of wanting more. And before I go further, let me say this: I believe education is important. I believe knowledge is power, and I believe learning is one of the most valuable tools we can have. Having a backup plan is always smart because things can go wrong. Every mentor, every role model I look up to preaches that truth. But here's how I see it. Education will always be here. I can always go back to it later, whether I'm 20, 25, 40, or older. My ideas, my passion, my energy, my drive, those things are at their peak now. Right now is my moment to chase them. And if I don't, I'll feel like I wasted my chance. People often ask me, but what if it fails? And my answer is simple. So what? What if it does fail? That's the whole point of risk. That's the whole point of chasing a dream. Startups fail, businesses fail, entrepreneurs fail. It's part of the game. But what if it succeeds? It's easy to think negative, but it's just as easy to think positive. It's just as easy to believe in possibility as it is to believe in doubt. That's why I try to stay around people who bring positivity, people who lift me up, because the people you surround yourself with can change your life. They can push you higher or they can drag you down. And I choose to be around people who help me rise. Starting your own business or working for yourself might sound scary, but it doesn't always require a diploma or a degree. Sure, education is valuable. Sometimes success comes from courage, a clear plan, and the determination to keep going no matter what. If you have a vision and you have the drive, you can build something. The right plan and the right mindset, almost anything is possible. And I'll be honest, what keeps me going is people like you who listen, who support, who believe. Your energy fuels me, it pushes me, it makes me feel like I can do anything. If you're still here, listening to my words all the way through, then I want to say thank you. That's real loyalty, and it means more than I can explain. Let me also remind you, I've had plenty of failures in my life. I've failed many times in funny, unexpected ways. Primary school test twice. I failed middle school exams 3 times. For 3 years, I kept trying to get into universities, and I was rejected again and again. Later on, applied for jobs. 30 times I tried, 30 times I was rejected. I even tried to become a police officer, but they told me, no. KFC first came to my city in China. I applied along with 23 other people. Out of all of us, 23 were hired, and I was the only one who didn't get the job. Imagine that. Everyone else got accepted except me. Another time, 5 of us applied for the police force. 4 were chosen, and again, I was the only one rejected. And let me tell you something else. I applied to Harvard University 10 different times, and I was rejected 10 times. I knew I would be rejected, but I applied anyway, just to see if maybe one day they'd change their mind. They never did. But do you think those rejections stopped me? Not at all. In fact, I look back now and smile at those failures, because failure is supposed to happen. You're supposed to fail. Failure is not the end. It's the stepping stone to success. Think about it. Failure gives you wisdom. Failure gives you experience. Failure makes you stronger. It shapes you into a better version of yourself. Maybe right now you're struggling in school. Maybe you have test anxiety. Maybe you just didn't prepare enough. Or maybe it was simply a bad day. Let me tell you, failing doesn't make you a failure. The only real failure is giving up. The worst thing you could ever do is quit. The most famous stories about failure is the one about Thomas Edison. A reporter once asked him, "How did you feel about failing 1,000 times while trying to invent the light bulb?" Edison didn't agree with the word fail. He replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I simply discovered 1,000 different ways that it wouldn't work." And that's the key. Every time Edison found another method that didn't work, he wasn't wasting his time. He was adding another step to his journey. He was growing stronger, learning more, and moving closer to the answer. That's exactly what happens with you and me. Every failure teaches us something new. Every setback builds our character and shapes who we are becoming. You have to realize this. Life isn't only about reaching the goal. It's about who you become along the way. It's not just about getting the job, making the money, or winning the game. It's about the lessons you learn while chasing those things. It's about the discipline, the patience, the strength, and the wisdom you build during the process. That's what really matters. The journey is hard, no question about it. The journey is filled with failures, disappointments, and moments where you feel like giving up. And that's why most people never make it. Most people are too scared to face failure. They think failure is a wall. In reality, it's just a doorway to growth. But if you've failed, you should be proud, because it means you tried. It means you took action. It means you're alive and you're moving. I hope you fail many times, because that's proof you're doing something. Every failure tells me that you're stepping forward instead of standing still. Too many people avoid mistakes at all costs, but by doing that, they also avoid growth. They avoid the very thing that could take them to the next level. Failure, success, fear, it's all tied together. Some people are afraid to fail. Others are even afraid to succeed, and many are terrified of the unknown. But courage is what separates them from the ones who push forward. Winston Churchill once said that courage is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. That's the kind of courage you need. There was a man in Los Angeles whose story made the newspaper. He passed the bar exam after taking it 48 times. Just imagine that. He had every reason to quit, every excuse in the book to give up. His own son had a law firm. He could have just worked there as an assistant or a clerk. People laughed at him for years. He was a joke to them. He didn't stop, and eventually he passed. People love to laugh at failure. They love to watch others fall. Think about the news. When someone fails, it becomes a headline. John F. Kennedy Jr. failed the bar exam. It was all over the newspapers. But when he finally passed, did you see that story everywhere? Probably not. Because people don't celebrate your wins the same way they highlight your losses. That's how the world works. People love to watch others suffer. Just look at traffic jams. Many times it's not because of the accident itself, but because people pull over just to look at someone else's pain. Why talk shows are filled with drama and misery. People get hooked on other people's struggles, and they magnify it in their own lives. But here's the truth. It doesn't matter how many times you fall or how many times people laugh. If you keep pushing forward, if you keep holding on to your dream with courage, then nothing can stop you. Remind yourself after every setback, this is my dream, this is my purpose, this is what gives my life meaning. And if life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, then you can get up. A lot of people stop chasing their dreams because of failure. They fail once, twice, maybe a few times, and then they quit. They stop believing. But let me share something powerful with you. You will fail your way to success. That's not just a nice saying, it's the truth. Did you know that 8 out of 10 millionaires have gone bankrupt at least once in their lives? Some of them more than once. And yet they came back stronger. They built again and again until they finally made it. They failed their way forward. So understand this. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many people tell you no. It doesn't matter if you don't even have a single dollar in your bank account right now. You can still fail your way into success. Failure is not the end of the road. It's part of the path that leads to where you want to go. The tragedy is that so many people believe success is about talent or destiny. They think the ones at the top were simply chosen, that their talent was enough to get them there. That's not true. That idea erases the most important part of the story, the struggle, the fight, the clawing and scratching to keep going when it looked impossible. That's what really makes success. In reality, nobody is entitled to a result. Nobody is owed a victory. Success is earned, and it's earned through the fight. If you're struggling right now, if you're going through hardship, if you feel stuck, understand this. You are experiencing the exact same thing every successful person has gone through. Every champion, every leader, every innovator had to face the storm. Struggle is not something to avoid. Struggle is something to embrace, because it means you are alive in the fight. It's a sign that you are walking the same path that separates greatness from mediocrity. That's why struggle is beautiful. It's proof that you're not standing still, you're moving forward. Most people can't see that. They look at hard times and immediately think it's a signal to stop, to quit, to pack it up and walk away. The best of the best don't see it that way. They look at struggle differently. They know it's part of the deal. Just like you can't grow muscles without sweat and pain in the gym, you can't grow in life without pushing through adversity. You can't make deals sitting still. Can't make progress if you give up when you hear the word no. Winners walk on. They know being uncomfortable is part of the recipe. They know being challenged is necessary. If you want to be the best, your mindset has to reflect the best. So let others focus only on the surface, on the tip of the iceberg. You focus on what lies underneath. The work, the effort, the grind that no one else sees. That's where greatness is built. Take what is yours. Work for it, fight for it, and lift it high for the world to see. Because the pain you feel today, the struggle you go through now, will be the very thing that transforms your life tomorrow. When you really want something, you truly have a dream that burns inside you, you must remember that discomfort is part of the price. Growth lives in discomfort. Success grows in places where most people refuse to go. That's why winners don't run from failure. They welcome it. They know that every fall is another step toward the top. Think about it this way: no one builds strength by staying comfortable. You can't get fit without sweat, without sore muscles, without pushing past what you thought was possible. Life works the same way. You can't create greatness without struggle, without long nights, without rejection, without falling on your face. When you hear no, don't stop. Doors closed, don't give up. Those moments are part of the journey. Every single successful person has heard no more times than they can count, but they kept moving. Why? They're successful. So let me tell you, this victory is not about luck. It's not about talent alone. It's about persistence. It's about refusing to quit. It's about believing in your dreams so much that no amount of failure, no amount of rejection, no amount of negativity can pull you away from it. Yes, failure will hurt. Yes, people will laugh at you. Yes, it will sometimes feel like the whole world is against you. But pain is temporary, while regret lasts forever. Struggle may break you down today. It is also the thing that will rebuild you stronger tomorrow. You must choose which pain you want to carry: the pain of discipline and persistence, or the pain of regret. Pain will make you stronger. The other will slowly destroy you. And let me remind you of this: the struggle you are facing today is not here to stop you. It is here to shape you, to prepare you for the victories ahead. The world will try to convince you to stop, to live safe, to be average. But you weren't born to be average, born just to survive. You were born to thrive, to create, to build, to leave something behind. So hold on to your dream. Protect it. Fight for it. Remind yourself every single day that this is your life, and no one else gets to live it for you. Do not let fear control you. Do not let failure define you, both as tools to push yourself forward, because in the end, the pain of failure will fade, but the pride of success will last forever. And when you finally stand at the top, you finally hold your dream in your hands, you will know that every fall, every setback, every rejection was worth it. So go ahead. Step into the unknown. Fail boldly, fail proudly, fail forward, and keep failing until your dream becomes your reality.